My name is Meline. I am 33 years old, and I live with my husband, William, who is 35. We have been married for 8 years, and I always believed our love was strong and unbreakable. We live in a small but warm house in the city. Every morning, William kisses me goodbye before leaving for work, and every evening, we eat dinner together, talking about our day and laughing about small things. William is kind, gentle, and hardworking. He never forgets my birthday, always brings flowers on our anniversary, and sometimes surprises me with my favorite dessert after a long day. I often look at him and think, how lucky I am to have him. Our weekends are simple but happy. We cook together, watch movies, or take short walks in the park near our home. I love the quiet moments when he holds my hand and tells me that everything will be fine. Life feels peaceful, almost perfect. I feel safe, loved, and content. I believe nothing can ever change the bond we share. At least, that is what I thought. Because sometimes, love changes quietly, not with loud fights, but with silence that comes too late. In the early years of our marriage, everything felt calm and certain. William would come home from work with a smile and sometimes bring me flowers, white lilies, my favorite. We would cook dinner together, talk about our day, and dream about traveling the world someday. I used to believe that love like ours could last forever. But as time passed, something began to change. William's work became busier. He often stayed late at the office, sometimes missing dinner. At first, I did not think much of it. I told myself, he is just tired. He is working hard for us. But soon, the calls he used to answer quickly became missed calls. The texts I sent were often left unread for hours. When he came home, he smiled, but it was different, a smile that did not reach his eyes. I noticed how he avoided looking at me sometimes, or how his voice sounded distant, almost like he was somewhere else. Still, I tried to trust him. I convinced myself that this was just a phase, that we would find our way back to the warmth we once had. But deep inside, a quiet fear began to grow, a fear that love, once full of life, was slowly slipping away. That night changed everything. The clock on the wall showed 11:30 when I finally heard the sound of the door unlocking. William stepped inside, his tie loosened, his face tired. The dinner I had made hours ago sat cold on the table. "I'm sorry," he said softly. "The meeting went longer than I expected." He gave me a small smile, but I could see it, that strange distance again. The same one that had been growing for weeks. I nodded without saying much, trying to swallow my anger and disappointment. As he went to take a shower, I noticed his phone on the coffee table. It lit up suddenly with a message. I didn't want to look, but my hands moved before my mind could stop them. The message read, "Thank you for staying with me again today. I had a great time with you. Claire." For a moment, everything around me went silent. My heart stopped. My hands began to shake. I felt as if the air had disappeared from the room. When William walked out of the bathroom, I threw his phone toward him and shouted, "Who is Claire?" He froze, water still dripping from his hair. "Meline, please listen to me," he said, his voice trembling slightly. "Don't lie to me." I screamed. "You've been seeing another woman, haven't you?" He tried to hold my hand, but I pulled away. "It's not what you think," he whispered. "Then tell me what it is." I cried, but he said nothing. His silence was louder than any confession. I felt my world falling apart, the man I loved, the marriage I believed in, all slipping through my fingers. I pointed toward the door and said, "Get out." He didn't argue. He looked at me one last time, sadness heavy in his eyes, and said quietly, "Someday you'll understand, Meline. I just hope that day won't be too late." Then he walked out, leaving behind the smell of rain, silence, and a heart that would never be the same again. After William left, the house felt empty. The silence was louder than any argument they had ever had. Every night, Meline sat alone by the window, staring at her phone, hoping he would call or text. But he never did. The man who once filled her life with laughter was gone, and all she had left were questions and regret. Weeks passed. Meline tried to go on with her daily life, but her heart was heavy. One rainy afternoon, as she walked home from work, she saw a familiar face at the bus stop, a young woman holding a small boy's hand. The woman looked pale and tired, but her face was unmistakable. It was Claire. Rage burned inside Meline. She walked toward her and said sharply, "So, you are the one who took my husband?" Claire looked confused. "Your husband," she repeated softly. "Don't pretend," Meline snapped. "I saw your messages. I know who you are." Tears welled up in Claire's eyes. She took a shaky breath and whispered, "Mrs. Meline, I'm so sorry for what you think. Your husband has been helping me, not cheating on you." Meline frowned. "Helping you?" Claire nodded and began to cry. "My son is very sick. He has a heart condition. William has been paying for his treatment. He even sold his car to cover the surgery. My husband, William's best friend, died in an accident 2 years ago. Before he passed, he made William promise to take care of us. Your husband kept that promise." Meline froze. Her hands trembled. "No. That can't be true." But Claire showed her the proof: messages, hospital bills, money transfers, and photos of William visiting her son in the hospital. Meline's throat tightened. Her knees felt weak. The man she had accused, the man she threw out, had been saving a child's life. That night, she called his number again and again. No answer. She texted, "William, I'm sorry. Please come home." Days passed, but there was still no reply. Then one morning, her phone rang. It was a call from the hospital. "Mrs. Meline," the voice said gently, "your husband has been in an accident." Her world went black. When she arrived, she saw William lying pale and still on the bed, tubes running around him. She grabbed his hand and cried, "William, please open your eyes. I'm so sorry." His eyes fluttered open. A faint smile appeared on his lips. "Meline," he whispered weakly, "I wanted you to love me for who I am, not for what I do." Tears streamed down her face as she kissed his hand. "Please don't leave me," she sobbed. But his breathing slowed. His fingers went cold in hers. Moments later, the heart monitor went silent. Meline held his hand and cried out his name, but he was already gone. After the funeral, the house felt colder than ever. Every room held memories of William, his laughter, his voice, his gentle smile. Meline sat on the floor beside his old desk, clutching the framed photo of them together. As she opened one of the drawers, she found a small envelope with her name written in his handwriting. Her hands trembled as she unfolded the letter. It said, "Meline, you once told me that you wanted to love a man who makes the world better. I tried to be that man, not for others, but for you. Please don't cry for me. Keep living, keep smiling, and keep loving. That is how I want you to remember me." Tears rolled down her cheeks as she pressed the letter against her heart. She whispered, "You were that man, William. I just saw it too late." Years passed, but Meline never forgot. She often visited Claire and her little boy. The child ran to her every time, calling out, "Aunt Meline." His small hands would hold hers tightly, and each time he smiled, she saw William's kindness shining in his eyes. Through helping them, Meline found peace again. The pain in her heart slowly turned into quiet strength. She no longer asked why things happened the way they did. She had learned that true love does not need to be shown with words or promises. Real love is silent. It lives in sacrifice, in compassion, and in the moments when one heart gives without asking anything in return. The narrator's voice turns soft and full of emotion, like a whisper from the heart. "I learned that love is not about blind trust," Meline says, "but about understanding, even when things don't make sense. Sometimes, we are so quick to doubt, so quick to hurt the ones who only meant to love us. And when the truth finally comes, it is often too late." She pauses for a moment, her voice trembling as memories flood back. "If I could turn back time, I would listen more. I would believe more. I would say, 'I love you,' every single day. Because love should never be saved for later. Tomorrow is never promised." The scene fades into a quiet night sky. Meline stands alone on her balcony, looking up at the stars. The air is still, but her heart feels light, no longer broken, only full of memory. She closes her eyes and whispers, "You came late, William, but your love will stay with me forever." The wind moves gently through her hair, carrying her words into the night, a soft reminder that love, once real, never truly leaves. It only changes form and continues to live in the hearts it touched. If you liked this story, please like, comment, share, and subscribe for more emotional English stories that help you learn English through story and discover meaningful life lessons.